My name is Svanibor Pettan, and I am professor of ethnomusicology at the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. I was very much interested in applied ethnomusicology for a very long time. And when I studied, in my undergraduate years, I was thinking how to make this world a better place. So I tried to broaden up the scope of what ethnomusicology in my country used to be. It was Yugoslavia at the time, because ethnomusicology was like study of folk music at home. And then I did to do research in Zanzibar. I did my master's in Egypt, and the work with Romani musicians in Kosovo. It was highly unusual actually for the time, but I just wanted, to give some value to the people who are not members of the majority population in the country where I live. And this is actually how it started. And then I wanted to become an Africanist, but then it turned out when the war started in my own country that I simply cannot close my eyes and say, well, I don't have anything to do with this. I will proceed, my way, and that's it. So I was involved with music and war at home, and made some publications in the 1990s about this topic. And then I was invited to Norway to teach at the University of Oslo in the early 90s. And then I went in the contact with the Bosnian refugees. And then I formed something what became like a triangle that connected education, research, and music making. And all parts of this triangle actually somehow contributed to the understanding of the other two. This work with refugees also continued when I came home. So my students in both Slovenia and Croatia were involved. We went to refugee camps, worked with the people, and tried to give them some different, broader understanding of this antagonistic picture of the war, that there are just two sides, and one, of course, our side is good, and the other side is entirely negative. So this is not the way how to end up the conflict. And after that, I was involved also with minority studies at home and elsewhere. And I think then some organizational elements came into the picture. So I was involved also in the establishment of the Applied Ethnomusicology section in SEM. But in 2007, at the ICTM World Conference in Vienna, I somehow pushed a little bit towards the establishment of a study group on applied ethnomusicology in the ICTM context. And in 2008, we had the first symposium in Ljubljana, in my place. And after that, I was chairing this study group for several years until 2011, when I assumed the duties of Secretary General of ICTM. Then I had to quit, and then it was very nicely continued by Clisela Harrison, and after that by Huub Schippers. And during that time, so we published a very nice collection of articles in the Musicological Annual. This is the journal of the Slovenian, of my department actually, the University of Ljubljana. And this was the first publication in the history of the department that was dealing with ethnomusicology, not with Western, classical music. And after that, in 2010, that came this book that I co-edited with Clisela Harrison and Liz McKinley. It was called Applied Ethnomusicology, Contemporary and Historical and Contemporary Approaches. Yeah. And then it came this Handbook of Applied, Oxford Handbook of Applied Ethnomusicology in 2015. And I think with these volumes and some others that came in also in between, with Clisela's work, let's say, on music and poverty, and Rebecca Dirksen and many others, I think then we have a very nice body of literature, that can be used for this. And another thing I find important is that we established also applied ethnomusicology as a course. So at the University of Ljubljana, we actually have a course in applied ethnomusicology now for several years, and also at the University of Sarajevo, and I heard now at your university. So I think it's growing up. It's a very good, and I hope this discipline is affecting now not only ethnomusicology within SEM and within ICTM context, but we are trying to move even further. And next year we will have a new challenge forum at the university in Beijing. It will be a forum that will bring together SEM and ICTM and IMS and YAML and YASPM. So each society will contribute some 20 scholars, and we will see what we can do. And I'm sure that part of this discussion, an important part of the discussion, will be, of course, about how can we really effectively use our knowledge, our understanding, our skills to make this world a better place. In 2015, it was a particular pleasure that the Oxford Handbook for Applied Ethnomusicology was published. And it was an enormous honor and pleasure for me to cooperate with co-editor Todd Titon, of course, who is one of the pioneers in this area. And it was a very, very valuable experience. It was Jeff together with Doris Diane and Ellen Martha Davis and the others who started actually the SEM Applied Ethnomusicology, which grew up to such a wonderful extent that probably nobody predicted in the very beginning. And so this was one of my great pleasures of work.